Hey guys, I'm just about to call Trip Bruce, the former crew chief for Johnny Benson. Let's see if he answers.
Hello?
Hey, is this Trip?
It is.
Hey, I'm glad that I got a hold of you. I hope things are going well for you. This is Doug.
Hey, Doug. Yeah, they are. Everything's great. Everything's good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. How's your day going?
Pretty good. Not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah, so you're the former crew chief for Johnny Benson, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I worked with Johnny in 2007 and 2008, and a little bit in 2009.
That's really cool. That was a really great run from what I've read.
Yeah, it was fun. It was probably some of the best times for sure.
Yeah, so to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm known on YouTube for a couple podcasts called Relentless and Unstoppable and Coffee and Conversation, which is co-hosted by a Hollywood actor I know named Andy McPhee, and I'm also an internationally known author, and I'm also known for my basically what I'm known for is my interactions with famous people for YouTube.
That's kind of cool, huh?
That's really cool, but I try not to toot my own horn too much, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah. I try and fly under the radar as much as possible.
Yeah. So I start these with a question, which is, where are you originally from?
Chester, Virginia, which is 15 minutes south of Richmond.
That's really cool.
Speedway.
Oh, what was that?
Southside Speedway, that's my home track.
That's really cool. So what's that track like?
It's a little 3rd-mile, worn-out asphalt track that everybody loves, and some of the toughest racers, even all the way up through the high ranks, have raced on, and from years and years, decades gone by, they just shut it down. Over the years, at times it struggles like every short track, but it would always come back and reopen. Somebody would help out, or somebody would do ownership a few times. Finally, during COVID, they shut it down and it didn't reopen. I think the land sold, and now it'll be gone forever eventually, I guess. That's what people tell me.
Yeah, that's really tough. My condolences on that.
I haven't been there since 97 or 8, maybe. It's been that long since I've actually been to the track.
Interesting. So when did you decide to become a crew chief?
I never really did. I mean, I crew chief stuff and cars back in Southside, things like that, kind of built cars and kind of just evolves that direction. But I always just put in a ton of effort, literally hands-on effort, day in and day out in almost every area. And eventually you're standing there being the one that kind of is involved or per se knows as much as anybody in the building or the team or whatever, and kind of just naturally you kind of become the guy that answers all the questions, kind of sort of. So I didn't really decide it. I just worked hard. I still work hard. I just work. That's kind of how I've always looked at it. I don't know why. I've never pursued anything specific. I just work hard.
That's really cool. So what made you get into racing?
I don't know. I had a curiosity about all things mechanical and things when I was young. I worked on Italian sports cars, long story short, I never really worked on an American-made car until pretty late in my knowledge of cars. I went out to the Southside for what they had, these exhibition races. They're called one-on-ones. It was a single lap, and you line up, those street cars, and it was like pre-race exhibition, you'd line up with your streetcar beside another one, and the inside lane would get, well, the outside lane would get spotted like, say, 30 yards or so, 30, 40, I can't remember what it was. And they throw the flag, and you race for one lap. So it's more or less which car is faster. And this little, this Volkswagen, it was all tricked out with a flat 6 Porsche motor, and it was fast, and it handled well. It won week after week after week all season long. And they kind of had a bounty on him to put it out there. Somebody please come out that can beat this. So I go out there with an Alfa Romeo, a 1973 GTV Alfa Romeo that was all souped up and just over the top nice, fast, handled well, just from ground up built, custom built, and we beat him. And that's the first time I ever went to Southside. And I was probably 16 at that point, 16 or 17 at the oldest. And from there, people asked me, hey, can you work on my stock car, my late models, my grand stock? Could you do this? Could you do that? And it's kind of evolved from there. I started going out to the stock car track more often.
That's really cool.
I had no interest in it at all. I grew up with Lenny Pons and his sons, Lindsay and Kent. Kent was more or less one of my best friends starting at about 6th grade or so. And he had been grown, he grew up going to the tracks through the 60s, late 60s and 70s, because his dad was a Winston Cup driver and they had to travel in the station wagon and all the fancy scenes and black and white photos. Nowadays, he grew up living that life. We were good friends and didn't really dwell too much on what his dad was off doing all the time, but that connection kind of brought it all together too. Eventually, we were all going out to Southside racing cars and stuff.
That's really cool. So who is your biggest racing hero, if you had to think of one?
I'd have to say Lenny at this point, because, there's plenty of bigger names, probably nobody that worked any harder to accomplish what he needed to accomplish. He was making a living at it, feeding his family and stuff doing it. And I grew up with his son, and kind of started paying more attention to what Lenny was all about, or listening to what Lenny had to say. So, there's plenty, obviously, but when it comes down to it now, 53 years old, I think Kent's 54, and we're still good friends. I'd have to give it all back to the
That's cool.
dad.
Didn't Lenny win like a race at Talladega back in the 60s?
Yeah, he won his rookie year. I think it was his rookie year in 73. If I'm misquoting this stuff, forgive me, but somewhere around 73 he was running for Rookie of the Year against Darrell Waltrip, and he won the Rookie of the Year over Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip never won the Rookie of the Year because of Lenny. I don't know if Lenny won Talladega that year or his next year or somewhere in that time. I don't know the details. At that point, I was 6 years old and hadn't paid attention to any of it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Lenny did win a race and did all kinds of tons of almost wins.
I'll have to look into that. That he sounds like a very cool guy.
Oh yeah, he's just a good down home, good dad, good husband, father. Lenny's a good guy. That's kind of how I would say he's probably the biggest hero in the stock car world. Always will be.
All right. So, how did you get your ride with Bill Davis Racing?
I actually went to work at Bill Davis's near the end of '98, like the ending season, headed into the winter of 1998, when Tommy Baldwin had just got there and kind of took over the place, and was MB&A was still on board with the 22, but Caterpillar was coming in and MB&A was moving out. And I walked in the door, Tommy had big things going on, had massive things, projects to the program at Bill Davis's, which was already a competitive program, obviously. But I'm glad I did. I did the side bill in the garage in the Bush Series quite a bit, and seeing him hands-on working and stuff, and walked in the door, and saw Tommy, and I think he knew of my face a little bit. I knew his face. He's like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm thinking about changing jobs." He said, "Come on, I need you. I need some help." I mean, there was a big team, a lot of people, and he was running around, a lot going on. It was pretty amped up and exciting times. The end of '98 and Bill Davis racing. So I went to work there with Tommy and worked on the 22 Cup cars from behind the scenes and over the wall, pit crew and all that for several years. But I came back. I think I worked there for 4 years, four years or so then on the Cup car. Then I moved on to other things, and I came back to crew chief Johnny when Ren left after the 2006 season. He left the team to go to Kevin Harvick's, and I think maybe more of a crew chief / managerial role, something like that. It had to be a step up in position or something like that. He didn't leave Bill Davis's because he didn't think it was good enough, or John, they won 5 races in 2006. He didn't leave for any of those reasons. It must have been something that was better for him as a whole. And that's when I came back and to fill that role working with Johnny and trying to pick up where they left off. And it was a large task. I mean, I think they finished second in points maybe in 2006 with 5 wins. So to walk in the door and one up that is very difficult.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I looked around and saw what they had, the trucks needed updating, the setups needed updating, but the people and the processes, plus I already knew Bill Davis's. It was one of the best places to work, most well-oiled machines out there. It compared with Hendricks, no doubt. It far compared with Roush. I would say exceeded Roush by a long shot. It compared with Joe Gibbs Racing at the time. I think it exceeded Joe Gibbs Racing at the time.
That's really interesting.
It was comparing with or en route to compare with RCR at the time. It may be the same with Hendricks, but it exceeded, I think, at the moment. I think it was a touch better than Gibbs. And that's just my personal opinion, not to knock Gibbs by any means, because when you look at longevity and all, Gibbs has outperformed everybody. But at the time, that's the way I felt. I was sincere about it. I mean, when you feel that way when you go to work, you feel that strongly about the group, the company, and all that. It's easy to get up in the morning and go to work hard.
Yeah, just a quick question. Yeah, that's all relevant. I just have a question, which is, and you may have the answer or you may not, but do you happen to know why Bill Davis's Cup team seemed to not be too competitive after Ward Burton left?
Of course, I have my own opinions. I was there. I know exactly what was going on from the ins and out, but it was being driven by Tommy Baldwin really hard when he walked in the door, and it really took a lot of steps. He pulled in a lot of good people. Bill expanded the operation. Caterpillar put the resource in to make all that happen. And when Tommy left, it was almost at a pinnacle or peak, and it definitely didn't even stay there in my performance-wise, and it went down, the Cup team. Now, Tommy came back, but I think the gap, Tommy did come back later, but the gap in between just lost a competitive edge, got behind, so to speak. And manufacturers change, and that's tough sometimes. Tough in every series, but the Cup level is really tough. I don't know. I know it was on a really, really amped up high performance-wise, and evolving to bigger and better things, pieces, parts, things, processes, and I saw that kind of stalemate when Tommy left. And I'm not saying this is all Tommy. I'm just saying it's on a timeline. That's when it kind of went flat and didn't keep rising.